What's up guys, Tao here. Here I have a almost 5 years old iPad Air 2. Today I'll be looking at how well the iPadOS 13, 13.1 actually. I've installed the beta 2 version on this just to see how well it performs on the new iPadOS. Hopefully give you guys insight on this ancient iPad and how well it's actually performed under the new iPadOS. iPad Air 2 actually is the oldest compatible device on Apple website according to the iPadOS 13 compatibility list. I really hope the iPad Air 2 actually is gonna have another 2, hopefully 3 years lifespan out of it. So you guys who has the iPad Air 2 can still use this machine a little bit longer, so get the best out of it. To be honest, it's pretty decent device. In my opinion, iPadOS 13 bring a breath of fresh air to this ancient, almost 5 years old iPad Air 2. It actually performed really well. It feels like it has been reborn. One of the features I think many people will like is the ability to use mouse. I know as a fact a lot of people keep asking, can I use a mouse with iPad? Can I use a mouse with iPhone? That was with the old iOS system. Now it is possible to use a mouse. Keyboard's always been able to use the keyboard Bluetooth with the iPad and iPhone, but the new edition is the ability to use a mouse with this iPad on the iPadOS 13. Although you can use a mouse with it, Apple, they don't really shout about it. The feature actually is under the accessibility. It's not like normal mouse with a normal cursor. What Apple did actually give a big or small circle. It's really designed to be used as a accessibility feature rather than a practical mouse, according to Apple anyway. In my opinion, this feature alone, I can see a lot of third-party accessory manufacturer for iPads. They're going to be integrating the keyboard and trackpad together with the protecting case. So I can see there's going to be a loads accessories available for the new iPad or for existing iPad, but with added on trackpad support. The overall experience with the iPadOS 13, in my opinion, at least my experiment, it was really smooth in a way. So overall, there isn't any unbearable lag, especially when you use the multiple tabs or multiple apps open or app switcher or even with games open. So the overall experience, it was pretty good. One thing with iPadOS 13, even the iOS 12.4, the home button actually technically is not used anymore. However, there's one use, especially is useful when you need to hard reset the iPad. So you have to hold down the home button and the power button for 5 to 10 seconds and the iPad will reset itself. So I think, if I'm right, that's the only reason the home button still exists for the iPad Air 2 anyway. Now the battery life. I think this is going to be interesting to different users. Now bear in mind this almost 5 years old iPad, so the battery is going to deplete it quite dramatically during the 5 years, and also everyone using tablets or the iPad Air 2 differently, so the lifespan of the battery will be dramatically different, in my opinion anyway, so bear that in mind. In my experiment, the battery life actually holds pretty well, but one thing I did notice that when I actually doing a multitasking or playing a 1080p or even 4K video on it, some of them won't play 4K. And also, especially when you play games, the batteries get really hot and the battery drain pretty quick and pretty dramatically. So once you stop playing game and doing normal tasks, running internet and typing stuff, so the battery actually will level up a little bit, so the drain is a bit slower. So I think because the way Apple manage the battery performance, which is the peak performance, so when you do use heavy tasking, the processing power kick in and use more battery. That's why the battery drain pretty quick. This is my opinion and this is my test. So bear in mind the battery will get pretty warm if you do heavy tasks. Besides the normal usage, I also use the Geekbench 4 to test the battery life. So basically charge to 100% and let the app drain the battery to 0 or 1% and then give me a score and also give me the time, how long the battery actually is lasted. So now this is pretty interesting, my test anyway. On the iOS 12.4, it scored 3,760. On the iPadOS 13, which is the beta 13, and scored 3,730. It's a bit lower. And on the iPadOS 13.1, actually scored a bit higher, 3,800. So this is interesting. So possibly the iPadOS 13.1 is a bit more efficient and the power management is a bit better. So we don't know. We're gonna have to see when the actual iPadOS 13 or 13.1 or the future iPadOS come in. So I really hope they're gonna use the power management better and drain the battery less on a normal usage anyway. So it doesn't take into account of multitasking and heavy tasking and heavy games, because that's where the battery drain dramatically, and it's a lot easier to see how quickly the battery gonna be drained. With all three tests, they all last over 6 hours, 60 minutes at least. So on the iOS 12.4, it lasts about 6 hours and 60 minutes. On the iPadOS 13, which is the beta, it lasts 6 hours, 30 minutes roughly. And on the iPadOS 13.1, it actually lasts a little bit longer, not by much. So 6 hours, 20 minutes. It's much, it's not much, but we can actually see the battery performance pretty consistent with the normal usage. Of course, everyone uses tablets different and they use different tasks, so please don't expect you ever get the same kind of result as what I did. So yeah, bear in mind, if you do use a lot of heavy tasks, the battery drain will be a lot quicker. So in my opinion, as expected, 5 years old, so the battery is gonna be, you know, it's gonna be depleted dramatically. As an iPad Air 2 user, that was my experiment, test and experience. Please leave the comment down below if you have different experience, and so we can share with others, maybe help others to decide if they want to upgrade or not. In all honesty, I really hope Apple is gonna still supporting the iPad Air 2 for the future, hopefully 2 to 3 years. In my opinion, it's gonna be such a shame they're gonna stop supporting the Air 2 next year. It's such a good device and it still have a lot of power left. And maybe not the battery, but the actual performance is still holds pretty well. Now, in my opinion, if you just use the Air 2 for basic tasks, basic use, day-to-day tasks, yes, go for it. Go for the iPadOS 13. There are more benefit and versus just the battery life. But if you use the iPad Air 2 for heavy gamings, you might want to think a second iPad or a new iPad for that, and it's going to be a lot quicker and the battery life is a lot better. If you do that, you know, just saying, you might just want to get a power bank on a go, so that's going to help you pretty dramatically in terms of battery life. My opinion anyway. Now hopefully you guys enjoyed the video and found this video useful, especially for you guys out there who own the iPad Air 2. And yep, see you guys in the next video.